Creative Full Time, where we interview people in the entertainment industry and find out how they're doing the damn thing here in Canada. If you could do me the favor and do me the honor of subscribing to the Creative Full Time channel, it would truly mean so much to me. Now let's get to today's guest. Today we have a gentleman, our first gentleman on the podcast actually, who has been making waves in Toronto in what looks like a very short amount of time. I met him in an acting class, and he's such a generous performer with a very kind and warm presence. He is a master of hilarious analogies and a great teller of stories. You can see him in TV shows such as Fear Thy Neighbor, Pretty Hard Cases, and Bike, and more coming out soon. And if you bank with, is it CIBC?
Yes.
If you bank with CIBC, odds are you've seen his face. Please welcome today's guest, Sean Sims.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. So I always start at what made you want to do acting. Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or is it something that came later in life?
Yeah, acting was something I always wanted to do, but especially when I was in high school, I wanted to write and act, but then I'm such a big guy, I'm 6'5", and I'm like, who would want to hire me? And then you had actors like Michael Clark Duncan and stuff like that. I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. But then I had to make this decision with football and stuff because I used to play football, and it was kind of left to the wayside. It wasn't until later on in my adult life that I was like, okay, let's try acting.
Nice. So you played football in college and
yeah, so high school, college, and then I got drafted in the CFL, and then I got cut, and then I was just I had this opportunity to play in Europe, and then I was doing mercenary work, whatever team paid. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go over there, and then and then I came back, my mom was really sick, and then I kind of retired after that.
Okay. Interesting. Do you find that having an athletic background helps with acting, or there's similarities at all?
Absolutely. I think a lot of my friends that I used to work out with, I used to go to this sports specific gym, people that were trying to go to the next level and whatnot, and there were everybody was a character there, and it was two of my friends, Julian Laurent and Denzel Phillip. They were working out there. One was in the CFL, and the other got a scholarship. And I was just like, you guys should start acting. And then they went on and started, they're developing their careers now. But it's just I noticed that athletes aren't really as self-conscious as most normal people, right? Because they don't care, because it's you probably had to get initiated when you came in, and you know what I mean, and just laughing, cracking jokes with each other. So
and I mean, you failed before, you've missed shots.
Absolutely.
You kind of get used to this. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose.
But on top of that, you fail, you miss shots, you miss the ball or whatever, and your friends are going to make fun of you, right? So it's just you just develop this tough skin, right?
Yeah. So on IMDb, most of your credits are from 2020 to now. Is that when you started? Was during the pandemic or before?
It's an interesting story. I used to date this nurse, right? And it was a great relationship, and we just we were really focusing on stepping outside of our lanes, right? Because it's we're good in our own lanes, right? But we many of us try and stay clear of stepping outside of your lane because it's weird, it's new, and you don't want to look stupid, right? So it's I started doing salsa and bachata lessons, and then after that she was like, what do you really want to do? I want to start acting, right? And that's how, and then we found a school and whatnot, but that's how it kind of started for me.
Okay, nice. And when was that?
That was 2016. I started going to classes, but my first school was like Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? It was just it was oh, this is how you take the scene, you take the close up and whatever. And it's what? No, I don't want to learn this. So I was there for a year and a half. and I was like not liking it, and she was like, okay, let's find a better school. So I found a better school, and that was like my Miyagi-Do.
Nice.
And yeah, just like went from there.
Wicked, wicked. And so I know you're with Melissa from Filmcom. And so for all the credits that you have now, is that from that agent? Is that the first agent that you had too?
So like 2020 was rough, and like I lost my job, and it was just like, what am I gonna do? Like I for the first day I was like down, and then I was like, Sean, you've been training to be an actor for how long? It's time to shit or get off the pot, right?
Yeah.
So then I set up a meeting with a bunch of agents, set up with Melissa Rock. She's like, okay, and then like the next week I booked my first show, but it was just like, oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
But it's just like, if I didn't have like, it wasn't training until 2016.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a lot longer, right? So,
yeah, fair. That's fair. Wicked. So when you were like meeting with agents and seeing who you wanted to represent you, was there specific things that you were looking for, or were you just kind of whoever bites? And
well, this is the thing. I think talking to some people, other actors, about finding agents, it's like, oh, we don't, I need somebody with like that I can have a relationship with, and I need somebody that that feels right, and blah blah blah. But it's like, I'm used to playing like football, and especially like football in certain levels, the coaches just call you everything but your name.
Yeah.
And it's like, you stupid dumb, you know what I mean? And it's just like, but it's like if they're not yelling at you, there's a problem. That means they gave up on you, right?
Oh, okay.
So like with, finding an agent, I just wanted a person that will give me reps. You know what I mean? Like give me opportunities.
Yeah.
So, like thankfully with like Filmcom, it's like, I'm getting hit with audition after audition after audition.
For getting people shit.
Yeah, and it's like she's real. It's like she's gonna tell you what it is, and you may not like it, but it's like you're better off finding out than wondering how come you haven't booked in a few months, right?
That's true. So you're just used to the tough love.
Yeah, I'm just used to the tough love.
Yeah.
But like Melissa's great too. Like it's just over time you develop that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just kind of like straightforward facts. Yeah. I like that too. I like a little bit of both. It depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't currently have an agent, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, awesome. So your first thing on set here, Anxiety Feast?
Yeah, so that was like one of my first, it was like a short, one of those short films.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like playing this businessman. And another thing I appreciate that like, while I get the, security guard number one or thug number, like I'm not typecasted. Like, I like that I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? So it's a bunch of different roles. So I got to play this businessman, and it was funny because it's like when I got there and I'm just standing there, they're like, do you want to warm up or do you? It's like, no, I think I got this. And it's like, oh, okay. And then it's like action, and then I did it, and they were like, whoa, like, oh, okay.
Nice. Oh, that's such a good feeling. I have the opposite. Where I get to stand and I'm like, do I belong here?
Yeah, well, no, definitely you get the imposter syndrome. Like I remember when we were in class and I met you for the first time, like you were seriously, like you were such a good actor. I'm like, okay. Am I supposed to be at this level? Am I supposed to be, you know what I mean? And then it's just like you get more and more comfortable.
Yeah. I think it's a comfort thing for sure. Have you had any like embarrassing moments or and things you regret on set?
I think I had an embarrassing audition one time, and it was
I love
like,
those. Do tell.
it was like I'm a COVID baby, so it's like all the auditions are taped and whatever. So like when you get your call back, it was on Zoom and everything.
Right.
And casting directors there, director, this and that, and I remember like. They told me to do the scene. I did the scene, and then it was just like I was silent, and it was like somebody played actual like tumbleweed rolling through, and I was just like, oh yeah, and it was just like, okay, all right. You know what I mean?
Log off.
Yeah, no, it's just like
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, you're a comedian. I'm sure like you bombed and, you know, but it's like you need
sure.
that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As much as you don't want it.
Yeah. I mean, totally that was totally unprofessional on their part, but it's just like, yeah, you need that. You know what I mean? Because like some people are Jedi and some people are like Sith, right? Like a Jedi, like they'll wake up, oh, I gotta go work out today. I gotta go do this. And it's like no emotion. Like me, I need emotion. I need like a breakup or somebody did me wrong or whatever. It's
just to motivate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. See what I mean? King of analogies. It's like they're the best. You did an episode on pretty hard cases. Was that fun?
Okay.
Because
honestly, that was like a real like life-changing experience.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I met two of like my best friends there.
Wicked.
Yeah, and we still fellow actors, obviously, John Thomas Gauthier and Joseph Weib, and we like I was tattooed hipster number 1, and John was tattooed hipster number 2, and Joe was the barber, and we just as soon as we met each other, we hit it off, and it's like without that relationship, I don't think I would have, gone as far as I went this year. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, wicked. Oh, that's so nice. I was totally expecting you to be like, that was so life changing because of the like a monetary reason or like something. But I love honestly, that it was relationship.
Honestly, like
that.
when you're on set, it's like the life changes aren't the monetary stuff. It's like the people you meet, because sometimes it's like, they see that you're not an asshole, and it's like, oh, okay, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Let's get this guy back to, on this show, because and that's how it works. Yeah,
relationships are so important in this industry, and not being an ungrateful dick on set.
Yeah, and there's a lot,
Don't be that guy. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Bike as well. What is Bike? Is it a TV series?
Bike is a web series, and it's on Gem? Is it Gem?
CBC Gem?
Yeah, CBC Gem. Yeah. Right? And basically, it's about this, the homeless scene, panhandler scene, and just life on the streets. And there's this gentleman named Bike. He's a panhandler, and it's just like he has a daughter, and he's trying to be a father, and when society might not always like accept him because he's just like he's considered a street person. I was like basically the Debo of the neighborhood, where I'm like picking on Bike and like find him. So that was an interesting experience too, because it's like we shot that in Hamilton, and like I'm dressed as my character, and we're in like this park, and it's like this park is like, there was a lot of homeless, there was a lot of drug use, there was a lot, and everybody's looking at us like, you know what I mean, like, who the heck are these people? Are they cops or whatever? So I'm like, cops are driving by and they're looking at me. I'm like, why are they looking? Oh, I'm dressed like a drug dealer. I forgot. And then,
right.
Yeah, and I'm standing there with like the crew, and there's this like big native guy. He's like, and just he's jacked. He's older. He has muscles and stuff, but you could still. And he's just staring at me, and he's walking around the fountain, and he's just staring at me. I'm like, finally, I'm just like, bro, you have the park, man. You run the park. I don't want the park. Listen, I'm just shooting this, and I'm out. He's like, ha, ha, ha. Okay, brother. Okay. I'm like, yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. He's not trying to step on your turf.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just like, yo, you got the park, man. I'm like, I don't want any smoke.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's so funny. And I wanted to ask as well about Trickle and Flow. You're in 6 episodes of Trickle and Flow. Was that your first like show where you did multiple episodes?
No, so Trickle and Flow is coming out, right? But that's another thing. It was like it's not so much like when I met Johnny on Pretty Hard Cases. He was actually producing, and then he saw he talked to the showrunner, and like they they liked what I could do, and yeah, I got the part.
Nice.
So it's
Oh,
like
that's wicked.
that's gonna start shooting in 2024.
Oh, okay. So you guys haven't shot it
haven't
yet.
shot it yet.
Oh,
But that would be like
wicked.
no, like I think Bike would be my first multiple episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you find that? Do you find it different or more challenging, or is it just, you know, how do you approach doing multiple episodes with the same character?
I think it's just like figuring out who your character is and how he fits in with everybody, and then once you got that comfort level of like who your character is, then it's just like meshing with like the other actors, right? Because then it's like, because you know, when you start out, it's usually like a 1-day shoot, and you can't really meld as well with other actors and stuff. But then it's like you get to know them and you kind of see what their character is about, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then it's like it's just more comfortable.
Okay, nice. I had a question from that, and now that you've finished your sentence, it just left my brain.
Got lost in my eyes.
I did. I was like, just dreamland. What have you found in your experience in the actor's journey, the biggest obstacles that you've encountered?
Okay, so one of the biggest obstacles is like, okay, I used to play, you know, sports and football and all this stuff, and it's unlocking emotions that earlier in your life was considered like, no, you don't deal with those emotions. You shelve it and like let it go, and like being emotional and crying. I remember like when my mom died, I didn't cry, right? And it was just like, I was like at the hospital and I'm watching her die, and I was just like, I didn't cry because I'm like, I have to be strong. But it wasn't more like, I got to be strong. I got to be a man. It was like, I have to be strong because if I go there, I don't know if I'll be able to come back out. And it's like, it was just me and my mom, and it was just like, if I can't come back out, I don't know who's gonna help me get out, right?
Yeah, that's a terrifying feeling.
Yeah, so, you know, through the funeral, I didn't cry and whatever, but my mom earlier, like, she kind of had like this like midlife crisis when I was going off to school, so she got these 2 cats, right? And I called them Michael and Tito. Like, Michael had a white face with a black body, and like, so, and I remember like a month after she passed, Michael died. When Michael was dying, and I was like, I was there, and you know, I'm at the vet, and she's giving her the shot to like put her to the big sleep, and you know, I watched him pass away, and then I just remember going out of the vet and walking down the street, and I'm bawling, and I call my aunt. I'm like, Aunt Monica, I don't know. All I was supposed to do was take care of the cats, and I couldn't do that. And I was bawling. It's like, obviously, like, yes, losing Michael was sad, but it wasn't just, you know what I mean? It was like, that's when it came out. Yeah. So it was just like, you know, learning to unlock that, because it's like at some points where, you know, like, I think this happens with men, where it's like, you know, you start feeling the tears coming, and then it's like the embarrassment, and then it's like, you switch that emotion to something that would be considered more like maybe anger, or you know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? So it's like learning how to accept that and just let it happen. And then, you know?
Yeah, that's hard. That's tough. I can't. That was something I had to work on too, because I hate crying in front of people. It's like one of the worst things on the planet for me. And being vulnerable and being open, it's just, and it's also just so necessary in acting. And then,
But do you feel that switch, like when you start feeling like you're gonna cry, and this like you try and change that into something else?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you're just like, you know what, rage would be easier.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
And more like attractive to me in my mind. Like just from like what I think other people think. It not even
Yeah.
what realistically is more attractive. It would probably be better to just like let it out and cry. People be like, oh, she'll be fine.
Absolutely.
You know, rather than like ruining other people's day because I can't
Yeah.
monitor my emotions. But yeah, it's a tricky thing for sure. Have you had to cry on set yet?
No. And I'm really like, am I gonna be ready for that, or is it like gonna be like, it's gonna look stupid, or like it's like learning how to feel that emotion, because I'm still working on it. Right?
Yeah. I hate the exactly that feeling of, oh, this is gonna look dumb, because as the second you're just like in your head, because I feel like there's like this weird point in acting where there's this level of acting, and then there's like fully going for it. And in fully going for it, if you like fall short, you kind of feel stupid that you didn't like hit where you wanted to hit.
Yeah.
But you kind of, it's almost like a self-sabotage or self-fulfilling prophecy, where it's just like, oh, I'm then gonna hold back a little bit so that if I don't hit it, then it's okay.
Yeah, or if it's not enough.
Yeah.
You're worried about like if the director is gonna be like, if that's not enough, you
Yeah,
wanna have another level.
exactly. Or
Yeah.
if you hit exactly what you want, and then people are like, well, that looked dumb, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's the best I had.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, it's definitely worrying about like what other people think all the time.
Yeah, but that's the thing you gotta like get rid of, because it's like you can't worry about what
Yeah.
other people think, because it's like at the end of the day, if you're gonna, live for the likes, you're gonna die when the hate comes, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's like
for sure.
you just gotta do you.
Yeah.
And if you doing you is getting you this success, keep doing it.
Yeah. True. You heard it here first, folks. The wise man has spoken. So do you do anything outside of acting that keeps you creatively moving, or do you just like to take a pause from the creativity and focus on other things? How do you balance the
Honestly,
acting
I think-
life?
Well, my girlfriend helps balance things out, because like right now it's like, now we're living together, so it's just
Nice.
like, you have somebody to go home to, and it's like also, you start listening to other people's problems, and you realize that your problems aren't,
Yeah.
that big, or it's just somebody to bounce things back from. But
For sure.
yeah, and it's just like, play video games from time to time. I'll like, I'm a big nerd, so I'll watch like,
You are a big nerd.
yeah, I'll watch like cartoons and all types of stuff. And now, like right now, because it's like I'm really concentrated on like, how can I be better and what can I work on, because it's like right now it's like I haven't had an audition in like a month, right? And it's like, okay, am I going to cry about it or whatever, or am I like, okay, well, let's see, when those opportunities do come, what am I doing to get ready for that?
Right,
So
right.
it's like now I have the mantra, it's like you gotta be ready so you don't have to get ready, right? So it's like really concentrating on going to the gym, my diet. I'm gonna start doing like stunt work and figuring out, because it's like I want to do action movies, I want to do, and it's just like I want to look believable on screen. So it's just like, yeah, I'll take a course, or I'll take this, or I'll take this scene studies class or whatever, just so I can
Yeah.
constantly keeping myself fresh.
Nice. How do you do the self-analysis for what you need to improve? Because you said that you haven't got an audition in a month. So how do you ask other people what you could improve, or do you watch your self-tapes back and go, oh, I need to improve that, or are you just working towards the next goal?
Yeah, well, okay, so for the first part, like, do I talk to other people? I do, but I make sure, like, if you're acting, you should, start surrounding yourself with other actors, and actors at, that are on various different levels, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And on top of that, if you're going to be friends with these actors, you got to make sure that it's like not some kind of echo chamber, but it's people that are going to be straight with you, and give you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's out of love, right?
Right, right.
They want to see you get better. So, you know, I have, you know, a core group of people I trust, and I'll ask them, right? But then also, you know, you gotta, because sometimes it's imposter syndrome, you know? Sometimes you're thinking, oh, am I that good enough? And it's like, you are, but it's just like, you gotta, like, imagine you're a car, you know what I mean? And you want it to be like a race car, like a 10-second car.
Right.
You're gonna start like, okay, do I need this DVD player in here? No. Do I need, you know what I mean? You start trimming the fat, and it's like that's basically what you're doing. And it's like, you know, because, you know, I played football, it's like you're constantly watching film on yourself. After a game, you're watching like hours of film. After practices, you're watching yourself practice. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you watch film, it's like, oh, you know, I don't need to do that. Where are my eye lines?
Right.
Why did I say it like that?
And are you able to watch yourself back like subjectively, or do you still like get the cringe, or you're just
I think I'm
totally used to watching?
I think I'm always going to get the cringe, right? And it's like, even when I was watching myself in football, it was like, okay, like I sacked the quarterback, right? And a sack is like basically a home run, right? And what you're trying to do is like, okay, I'll explain it like this. Like if anybody watches football or
They do
whatever,
now, 'cause
baseball,
Taylor Swift.
it's like baseball. If you're hitting a home run, right? That's big. So if you got like, you know, if you're, you know, batting 1,000 and you're hitting the ball like almost like a lot of the time, it's like, that's really good. But how many hours are you playing baseball, and how many times are you at bat, right? So for a sack, for me to get to the quarterback before he throws a ball, it's a good play. It's a really good play. And that's like, I get judged on that, right? So I could have 8 sacks for the season, like get to the quarterback, hit the quarterback 8 times, and I'm considered like really good, right? But within one game, you have like 60, 70 plays. So out of 60, 70 plays, I got to the quarterback once or twice, right? But that's still considered good. And it's like, now I only have like maybe 9 or 10 games to get to, you know what I mean? Right. So you want to, as an actor, make good plays, and you want to do it more often. So you always have to like watch yourself and critique yourself and be like, oh, okay, here's where I can trim the fat. I didn't have to like take that pause. I didn't have to, you know?
Right.
And then it's like, why? And it's like, ask those questions like, why am I doing this? What, you know? So yeah.
Okay, nice. Again, with another fantastic analogy. I love it so much. So you're saying that you were starting to train for action roles. You want to do more action roles. What do you have, like a dream role? Like, are you wanting to enter like the Marvel universe? Like, what's the goal, or just any action?
Honestly, I don't want to be like I want to be a good actor. You know what I mean? I think like, once again, when I was playing football, it was like, I didn't get so much the satisfaction of like, oh yeah, you get the cheers or whatever, and you get, you know, oh, that guy's good. It was when you, at the end of the game, when you shake hands and the guys you've been going up against, like, good job, Sims, good job.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, they know.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would prefer that when my peers work with me, it's like, oh, this guy's a good actor.
Nice.
You know, it's just like, because it's like, you know, being good to like somebody, like an audience is subjective, right?
Yeah.
It's like, depending on what they like or whatever. Like, my girlfriend loves a shitty movie. And we'll just watch, and it's like, why are we watching this? Like, I don't know, it looks good. And it's like, no, it's shit, right? But it's just like, that's what hilarious. She likes. So it's subjective, right? So I'd rather get it from my peers.
Okay, fair enough. And do you have like a dream role like in mind? Like, do you have like the kind of character in your head where you're like, if I could play that would be amazing?
I would love to play like a hitman. I would love to play. I just so like loving dad. You know what I mean? That like people watch and it's like, oh yeah, I want him to be my dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd also love to play like if we're going Marvel, I'd love to play like Luke Cage. Like
Yeah.
I love Luke Cage,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like, but the actor who played him was so good, they might just
Right.
like take him back, right? So
I love those moments when you do really want to roll, but you see somebody else do it, and you're like, oh no, that's okay though. They did really well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
did it shitty,
yeah,
then I'd be
absolutely, absolutely.
But I love that where you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I see that. What is the hardest thing for you? Oh, I already kind of asked. I already did this. We already did the biggest obstacle of being an actor. Any other obstacles as an actor that come to mind?
I think dealing with like different personalities, right? Because I think as
Like on set?
it's like as a human going through your own problems and your own issues and things you've had to go through,
Yeah.
and then it's like you see somebody else and they're acting a certain way, and it's just like how many years ago when I was just playing, all this stuff was easy because you would just like you would confront that person and but it's like you can't do that, right? 'Cause it's like
right.
that's
can't
where you
step on toes.
yeah, and it's just that's where you have to check your ego, right?
Right.
Because your ego wants you to go forward and thing, but it's like the mission is to make the best film as possible, right?
Right.
And it is you going and confronting this person and calling them whatever
Yeah.
is that going to help the mission of making this the best film?
That's fair.
Yeah.
So setting ego
Yeah,
aside,
yeah.
just to, and that's true because once action hits, all like personalities
Yeah.
or issues have to step
Absolutely.
aside, and you got to do the job that's in front of you.
Absolutely.
I remember the question I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
It was on set, and especially with like a TV show where you're doing multiple episodes, or just anytime you go on set, do you approach actors and like either do like a, hey, do you want to like practice or do like a line read, or do you like talk to them to be like to get on the same page, or do you just like to be in your own zone, go and do the thing?
It depends. It's like, cause it's dependent on like how that actor is at the time, right? Because
True.
I remember like I'm at the hotel and we're all getting a shuttle to set, and then like the lead comes on. It's like, oh hey, and they don't say anything. It's like,
yeah.
okay, cool. But yeah, like I'm collaborative. If somebody wants to like get together and like go over lines, but I just want to make sure I have my lines down first. You know what I mean? Because it's like I feel like I have a responsibility to the person I'm creating with to have my lines down.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like I remember like when we were in class, like I really try and make sure I have my lines down. You know what I mean? And like the one time I didn't, I was just like, oh, I felt so bad. It was
I don't
just,
even remember.
Exactly. See? But in my head, it was just like, I can't believe it. Yeah.
I know. I always have this when you're late at night, just replaying them.
Yeah,
I should have
yeah.
done that. Do you have like any tools or methods that you use for memorizing your lines on set? Like, do you bring things with you, or do you just run them in your head nonstop, listen to them in headphones, or?
Honestly, like this industry is weird where it's like sometimes you don't like. It's like being learning how to be a man. Sometimes where it's like there's nobody to really tell you how to be a man, and it's like here, show you through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially like coming from like a single parent family and it's just your mom, but it's like you get father figures and you figure it out and so it's like
Right.
I'm still trying to work it out.
Nice.
And I'm still like watching YouTube videos on how other people do it and see how like I can take that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm still working on my process.
Okay.
But usually it's like I'll read it a whole bunch of times so I understand what's happening, and then I'll start to like, okay, what my character is about and what he's gone through, and then I'll start memorizing.
Oh, okay, nice. I do the character work
Yeah,
first and then
yeah.
the lines. And then do you usually go to set and you were already like confident that you got your lines down, or do you go to set and you're like, oh my god?
No, like I'm usually confident that I got my lines down, right?
That's good.
It's just like sometimes it's like, okay, okay, so lines to me are like your sword, right? It's like a samurai sword. But like anybody could take this sword and you could swing it like a barbarian, or you could swing it like a kung fu master or a samurai. But it's like you bring that, you know what I mean? You're
Right.
training. So it's like you got to figure out you have this sword, which are the lines. It's like, how are you going to implement that?
Okay,
You know?
nice,
Yeah.
nice. I'm gonna have to have a tally for like every analogy that we do, because it's great. It's one of my favorite things about you. You have like you explain things so well.
Yeah, it's just, you know what? I just like when I was younger, I had problems like finding the word for it, so I just explained it. And then I watched this one episode of like Star Trek: The Next Generation, where like this alien, he like they didn't understand his language because all he would do is use analogies.
Oh, no
But
way.
if you don't know what the story is in their planet,
Yeah.
you just think it's
You're
just
just
random
lost.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And Sean was born.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, oh, you could do that. All right.
Like,
Yeah.
well, everybody else
Yeah, yeah,
understands me here on this
Yeah.
planet. That's excellent. I have a couple more questions left for you.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you think is in your way of getting to the next level, whatever the next level looks like for you?
I think I have to work on my foundation, right? The fundamentals. And I didn't, like, I came in 2016 learning how to act, but there's so many things, like, somebody who's done theater for, since high school
Yeah.
or whatever. So there's a lot of fundamentals that I need to work on. And it's like you being a fighter, you can have a great knockout punch, but if you don't have the fundamentals to get to where you have to, it's like, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Somebody could have way more fundamentals than you, and then it's like you realize there's levels, right? Because it's like you're knocking people out left and right, and then you find somebody that like you can't even touch, and it's like, oh shoot,
Fair.
So yeah, it's just working on my fundamentals.
Nice. Excellent. Alrighty. We end every episode with a fast 5 questions.
Oh, boy.
No pressure. I usually talk and expand and elaborate anyway, so it's not exactly fast every time. But they're easy, no pressure.
Okay.
So first one, favorite candy?
Jolly Rancher red.
Red?
Yeah.
Isn't there like something in the red dye? I'm
Probably.
just kidding. I'm a dedicated blue, raspberry blue candy. Yeah.
Okay.
Name 3 on-set must-haves.
Must have charger, one of those camping chairs, just in case, you never know.
So true.
And what else? I'll bring my like Nintendo Switch.
Nice. Yeah, you got to bring something to kill time for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Favorite guilty pleasure show or movie?
Guilty pleasure show or movie. I don't know. Like I'll watch like
They're
sometimes,
all good. He only watches good things.
No, like sometimes I'll watch like some ratchet Real Housewives of this or that or
Love
blah, blah,
is
blah.
Blind is my reality show.
Yeah,
I
I like the drama, but I like to watch it from far away and not be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So like, oh man.
Yeah, thank God I'm not on that show.
Absolutely. Exactly.
A quote you live by or try to live by?
Quote that song. Well, like right now it's be ready so you don't have to get ready. And yeah, what else do I use? Can't fall from the floor.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah. If you live for the likes, you're gonna die when the hate comes, and
Yeah.
because it's a lot of social media. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's
they like this, and it's like, you know what I mean. But you got to remember, it's like anything that you like your ego wants you to love the likes and whatever, but if you're out there saying like, oh well, I don't listen to what the haters say, you can't listen to what the people who like you say, because it's an equal thing, you know what I mean? Because that'll, like, if you're around a bunch of people that are like, yeah, you're great, and da-da-da, yeah, I am great, and da-da-da, and somebody checks you, and it's like, oh, shit, no, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like, you really, so you gotta take it with a good and bad. So sometimes I'm like, you know, somebody will give me a compliment or something, and I'm like, okay, thank you, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I don't dwell in it. You know? I try not to dwell in it.
Yeah. I try not to keep score, because you could tell me like 50 good things and then one bad, and I'll just be like, and zero in on that one.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, we're just not going to keep track. There's good, there's bad. But yeah, you're right. Like, as long as you feel like you've put in the work and like done a good job, like it's medicine for your soul, and like, rather than feeding the ego is the purpose of acting. A piece of advice for other creatives who are just starting out their acting journey, or a message to your younger self.
I think take in the milestones, you know what I mean? Celebrate the milestones, because sometimes like, once again, like, you know, that football mentality where it's like, you know, you win a game and then your coach is like, don't celebrate because, you know, there's still the whole season.
Right.
And then it's like you're undefeated, and it's like, well, there's still playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, you win the championship, and it's like, don't celebrate because we still got next year. And it's just like you're constantly not trying to. So it's like when something happens, like accept it, love it, go out, get something to eat, treat yourself, and, you know, accept those milestones.
Nice. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. An excellent time interviewing you. If you've watched this far, you better have. It is the most entertaining show around. Please like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments your favorite analogy from Sean. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.